Hey guys, Lord Sora here. We have been cooking this build for a while now, and last week I decided to release a gameplay footage of Blood Wave and how broken it can be before going on a vacation. If you haven't seen it already, link is in description. We have showed some good gameplay there. And now I'm back from vacation. As promised, I will be going over the build details. Since that initial video, a lot of new folks joined my Discord server, and we have been discussing brainstorming around this build as well. And I was told that since that first video, pretty much most Necros in the Field of Hatred is running Bloodwave now. And for a good reason, because this is the strongest, hardest hitting skill we currently have, and most probably this is the best way to play Necromancer in PvP for now. Before we jump in, this video won't have that much editing and quality production. I just want to share updates as quick as possible so I can go back and continue my theory crafting and build testing. I'm literally hitting record and going over the build details. With that, I constantly switch things around in my builds, testing new things and looking for new ways to make things better. So there are other variations of this build I run. However, the guide I'm going to be going over should give you a really good place to start on your own. But I'm pretty active in my Discord server, link is in description. Feel free to join and stay updated with the changes and the new builds incoming. We literally theorycraft Necro PvP builds all day there. Additionally, I'm starting to stream a few times a week, and Discord is a good way to stay in touch with me and my stream schedule to stay updated. Alright, let's jump into the guide. I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. We'll go over the gear first. On the helmet, we are running Exploiter's Aspect. As affixes, we are running cooldown reduction, definitely one of our must-have. Maximum life, intelligence is okay here, and total armor. As a legendary, we are running Unstoppable Aspect. Exploiters, when the enemy is unstoppable, we deal 40% more damage. It was previously tested that this does not work in PvP, however, it does in fact work with dot damage. On the chest, we are running Embalmer. For now, we are running damage reduction from close enemies, maximum life. Intelligence is not good here. I would like to have damage reduction while fortified or flat damage reduction on the slot. And total armor. As an aspect, we are running Embalmer. Whenever we are consuming a corpse, we generate blood orb, which we constantly consume corpses and we generate more blood orbs. The more blood orbs we generate, the more cooldown reduction we get on our ultimate, and also we get more fortified, which we'll go over later. This really works well in this build. One of the secret sauce, I call it, in this build is the Fist of Fate. You will see a lot of the fire sorks, firewall sorks will run this actually. It's a little bit of RNG, but when it procs, it makes that blood wave do a huge amount of damage. That's why I'm gonna get like 30k ticks and 24k ticks and so on and so forth. It's a give and take. You lose some lucky hit chance here and then attack speed possibly, but it's good to have. You can probably swap to another armor piece with a different legendary aspect on based on the matchup. But for me, I really like this unique. It's been working out really well for me. For the pants, we are running the immunity bubble. Cooldown might be a little too long, but sometimes it comes so clutch that it saves us, especially in duels. This is a must-have to counter that initial burst, so you get more chances, and whenever you have a downtown of your mist, this can still help you survive. For stats, damage reduction from close enemies. As you can see, my gear is actually pretty shitty. It's nowhere near min-max. I'm still working on it. We have a max life. Plus 4 ranks of blood mist is a must on the leg piece. And we have damage reduction while injured. I would like to have again here damage reduction while fortified, but so far this feels good enough to get by for now. On the boots, we are running blood mist triggers corpse explosion. Pretty typical, as you may guessed already. When we use our blood mist, we trigger corpse explosion. We reduce the cooldown of the blood mist. As stats, I'm running movement speed. Intelligence here is okay. Maybe dodge chance will be better. Blood orb healing is good. Maybe fortified generation might be better in the boots with this build as well. And we are running damage reduction while injured. This helps a lot actually on a fortified build, as your health goes down, as you have more HP pool, as your whole health goes down, you start mitigating more damage. And with the fortified, they overlap because your health goes down, and fortified, you become fortified, you get more damage reduction, and then you have more damage reduction while injured as well. So it works really well on that setting. But is it min-max? Not yet. For the amulet, again, must have cooldown reduction, damage reduction, total armor, damage reduction from enemies that are affected by shadow damage over time. This is actually a pretty good amulet. I also have the perfect roll shadow blight here, which is what you ideally want to run on your amulet to get that extra blight damage. When it procs, you have this multiplier, 180% damage multiplier. So it's really good, definitely a must have on the amulet. On the ring, this is a pretty good ring. We have shadow damage, maximum life, lucky hit chance, and damage to affected by shadow damage over time enemies. And as our aspect, we are running blood orbs, reduces our ultimate cooldown, which really goes well with the next aspect. Blood wave fires 2 additional waves, so we constantly generate at least 9 blood orbs. And we also have the embalmer aspect, which when we consume a corpse, generate blood orbs as well. So all these combined really reduces the cooldown of our ultimate, which is our huge damage, or our damage is coming from. And we can pretty much use our ultimate every 10 seconds or so, which is pretty great. So the synergy actually works really great there between aspects and the ultimate and the blood orbs. And later on we'll touch, the more blood orbs we have the blood drinker glyph, which will generate more fortify. On the stats, on the second ring, again, pretty similar. You want, I don't have max HP here, but that would be ideal to have, but you definitely want lucky hit chance. And we go to our offhand focus. I've been running focus this since the launch of the game, pretty much. I think it's a must-have. Another cooldown reduction there, and you add another cooldown reduction from the affixes. It's a pretty good focus here. The dexterity is kind of okay. We have damage reduction while fortified, and we have the lucky hit chance. As an aspect, we uses the blood mist, leaves a trail that lasts for seconds, which removes the movement speed, is no longer reduced. Another advantage of this aspect is that it helps you proc Shadow Blight faster. You get 2 instances of darkness damage, and that they proc Shadow Blight, make you stack Shadow Blight faster. On the weapon, we are running wand, definitely a must-have. We have extra lucky hit chance, which is lucky hit chance is the most important thing. This is actually a really good wand, and we have the aspect which turns our blood wave into a darkness ability and shadow damage over time ability. We got vulnerable damage over time, damage affected by shadow damage over time enemies, and intelligence. Pretty good wand here. Maybe find something better in the future, but for now this is really good. For gems, actually, let's touch on those as well. We are running purple ones to increase our damage over time. On the armor, I'm running ruby, but sometimes I find myself swapping to topaz or amethyst. It's a very deep matchup dependent. I actually like ruby more when I go against barbs. I have the bigger HP pool, and bigger HP pool means that I can stay healthy. In addition to, when I'm injured, I have a lot more damage reduction while injured, so I have a bigger HP pool while being injured, and then I can mitigate actually tons of more damage in that state as well. So it works pretty well, but depending on the matchup, going against some of the poison rogues, I like going 3 topaz, 3 amethyst on the armor, but it's very matchup dependent. Going over the hearts, sacrilegious, definitely a must-have. Vulcan near a corpse automatically activates. Corpse tendrils, corpse explosion, it just works really well. And as our wrathful heart, we are running creeping death. This is definitely a must-have in my opinion for any kind of damage over time, especially if you're using an essence spender. Great Feast might be a good option, but I personally like to play with core abilities. It makes the gameplay more fun for me. In that case, creeping death is my main option, which what it does, it gives us tons of more damage multiplier. And second part of the part says actually monsters. However, this actually works against unstoppable enemies in PvP as well. So second part of that can apply to druids or barbs when they're unstoppable. So it works really good. Last one is the Decrepit Aura. Decrepify up all the time when someone is on us. We can proc Decrepify. Decrepify means stun. Decrepify means cooldown reduction. So really good part here. Going over the skill tree quickly. First basic ability, we are running Reap, more damage reduction, and then we also generate a corpse here. It helps us get things rolling right off the bat. On the second section, I am running Blight here. It's a kind of a personal taste, but it's also, I think, works really well. Which it does, this is actually really good at countering rogues, where you proc Immobilize, which that's another CC on the enemy. That's you get more damage multiplier. And also, I really like that I can spam this as much as my resources full. And then I have a lot of lucky hit chance with this, that I can actually proc Healed Flesh to generate more corpses. It makes the gameplay more fun for me. I immobilize the enemy, and if I go against the barb, I actually swap to this to get another 15% damage multiplier. I know some people likes to use the Bone Prison with the Blight aspect to generate corpses. I personally didn't enjoy it. Then it becomes all of my skills have cooldowns, active cooldowns, and I have to have an aspect slot for that I didn't like. But it definitely is a solid option. I don't know which one is better, which one is worse. Just the personal taste wise, I like using core abilities. I like having something to spam and actively use in combat. Then Blood Mist, I think it's very self-explanatory. Every PvP Necro runs this. We want as many skill points as possible on this one to reduce the cooldown of Mist. Then we go to the Corpse Explosion. With the pants, you can get up to this 9, and even with the amulet, you can get up to this, I think, 11. But I'm using only 5 points, and we turn this into a darkness ability, so it turns into a dot damage. I think pretty self-explanatory there. Here we have 1 thorns invested into the skill point. This is mainly to just proc the Decrepify or stun the enemy when being attacked. Only reason for that, to proc the Decrepify for cooldown reduction or stun the enemy when they attack us. Here we are running Grim Harvest, generates essence whenever we consume corpse. Just 1 skill point is good for that one, because we also have a basic ability to generate essence. And we have Fueled by Death here, where we consume corpses all the time, so whenever we consume corpses we get more damage. Next skill line, with the passive we're taking here, Death's Embrace, is kind of self-explanatory again. Most of the fights in PvP are from melee range, especially rogues and barbs. So this gives us more mitigation and also gives us more damage as well. Here going to the Amplify, we are, again, similar logic. We're fighting in very melee range, and once our Decrepify aura is always up, we deal more damage to the enemy. And Decrepify, one of the must-haves for every Necro build, I think I would say, for PvP. We still need skill points for this one, so this is where it helps a lot. Enemies hit while affected by Decrepify have 15 chance to reduce your active cooldowns by 1 second. This is how we keep our Mist cooldown as low as possible. We constantly reduce our cooldowns with this. I know Iron Maiden is a very popular choice. What you can do, another version of this build, you can put that aspect when the enemy is cursed by Iron Maiden and Decrepify, you deal 50% more shadow damage. Can really help. And you can use this to proc that. Instead of Blight, you can change those skills. But like I said, it's a little bit of personal preference. I really do enjoy Blight. Immobilize with Blood Wave combo, also so fun to do, and it works really well for me. And you add another CC to the enemy, which works really well against rogues. That's my personal taste. You pick and choose here. one option to run a core ability that I like, Blight, or you can run Iron Maiden in place of that. And corpse tendrils, our CC, our pool. I only put 1 point here, and I take the vulnerability skill point here to proc vulnerability. We don't care about putting 5 points into this. We proc this with our seasonal hearts, and as well as we reduce the cooldown all the time anyway, so I don't think putting more points here makes any sense. And we have our darkness skill tree here. I put for the speed a little bit, 2 seconds stun duration, and then gloom here is a really good ability. Terror is a good skill point here. I find this also very matchup dependent. This helps us get some more damage on our Blood Wave ultimate. However, against barbs, this doesn't really do much, or if enemy is unstoppable, this doesn't do much. It's a very matchup dependent. Sometimes I take the 3 points from Amplify and put it into Terror. So it's sometimes I run 3 points here, sometimes I run 3 points here, depending on how the matchup feels. Then here we come to Blood Wave. I have another gameplay video just showing this off last week again, and we just run these skill points, all 3 of them, and this just does so much damage when we run the darkness aspect. And then we run standalone for more damage reduction and run Memento Mori. If you are happy with this, go try it, but your other options, you can run Bone Prison instead of Blight, or you can run Iron Maiden instead of Blight. That's some of the adjustments I would make depending on your gear as well. And you can swap between Amplify damage to Terror, again depending on the matchup. But I found this skills works quite well for me. Keep in mind that if you want to run Bone Prison, the moment you cast Bone Prison, it will consider it as a minion, and this will be reduced to 6% damage reduction. So you will lose some damage reduction when you run Bone Prison when you cast it, just so you know. And before we conclude the skill points, our last passive, Shadow Blight. This is where the big chunk of damage comes from when we get the 10th stack. We get tons of attack power, and our dot damage is really ticking super hard. I am gonna go over the paragon board real quick here. Along the way, we're taking every health here possible, taking intelligence, because we are running Blood Drinker, which is really good. We constantly generate blood orbs. We get 45. 45 means a lot of damage reduction and tankiness, as well as some more damage as well. So it's a really no-brainer. There's no other option to run here. Blood Drinker is the way. I was experimenting with Sacrificial. This gives a lot more damage sometimes. However, tankiness is what we are going after in this first one, and still we get more armor and more damage as well. So it's a really good glyph here. And then we go into the Wither board. We are taking the Wither legendary node itself. This got buffed, so it's a lot more damage now. It's a lot quicker to ramp up. It's quite effective. And then we pretty much take most of the rare nodes here in the node to boost our shadow damage, and here we're taking the darkness glyph, which increases our darkness damage, also shadow damage, and then this also gives us some more mitigation. Then we go into the next board, which is Flesh Eater. This is also similar to the Blight, gives us that huge damage multiplier. So we take this along the way, and then we make our way here just a few paragon points. We take the territorial, some more damage reduction, and then some more damage to close enemies. And then we go up to the next board. We go to the Scent of Death, more damage reduction or more damage we get, and then we get the HP health node here. Then we go up to this here to put the Scourge. I still need to level this one up, and then we get some of the damage to injured nodes as well. So we get every willpower as possible we can get, and then go to the next board. And the next board is the bone graft. This board gives the most amount of dexterity for the glyph, and our glyph is the vulnerable exploit. So just to get the most vulnerable damage as possible quickly. And then we go to the 6th board, which we run control. We quickly come here, get 10 intelligence from here, 10 intelligence from there, and this also gives us some more damage while fortified, which we are fortified quite often. And then we have the control. When we stun the enemy, we get so much damage, not just stun but slowing and all the other CC. It's helped us deal more damage here. This should sum up the overall most important details of the build. I will add the D4 planner in the description. Just so you're aware, I constantly test stuff and move things around, so I'm sure there will be many variations of this build. I have been already thinking of many other potential and play styles to play this, but for now, this is a good starting point for you to adapt. In the meantime, join my Discord server to stay updated, come by the live streams, and please let me know if you have any feedback or suggestions or questions in the comment section below. With that, Lord Sora here. I will see you guys in the next video.